Well, the stage is set for what promises to be a stormy monsoon session of Parliament starting tomorrow. Just hours before the commencement, Prime Minister Modi reaching out to the opposition seeking cooperation for smooth functioning. But sparks will fly. Former NDA ally, the Telugu Desam Party, has moved a no-confidence motion against the government again. The Congress has also threatened to do the same. The government has listed some important bills for consideration and passage in the 18-day-long session. This includes changes to the GST laws, the Insolvency Code and the Fugitive Economic Offenders Ordinance. There are some controversial issues too on the legislative agenda, like the Triple Talaq Bill and the amendments to the RTI Act, which have not been made public. The opposition is also gearing up to raise issues like mob lynching, job losses, the situation in Jammu and Kashmir, farmers' protests, among others. Joining us now to discuss what can we expect in Parliament are CM Ramesh, Rajya Sabha MP from the TDP, Mr. Majid Memon, Rajya Sabha MP from the NCP, Rajiv Rai, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. We'll also be joined by GVL Narasimha Rao, Rajya Sabha MP from the BJP, and Sushmita Dev, Lok Sabha MP from the Congress. Let me start by getting a reaction in from Mr. Ramesh, Rajya Sabha MP from the TDP. Mr. Ramesh, the TDP had moved a no-confidence motion last time around. It was not admissible. This time you have moved a notice yet again. Are you at all hopeful that this is going to move any further beyond just giving that notice?
See, yesterday we met all the other party leaders who are in the opposition. Rather than BJP and Congress, all parties we made requests. Last session also they are not taken up, and our issues are not at all taken anything. There is no any positive response, and nobody is in the government is taking care about Andhra Pradesh. Yeah, there is no other way. No, we have to move the no confidence motion. If government will come forward,
your specific issue, Mr. Ramesh, is. No, I understand, but your specific issue is the issue related to the special status for the state of Andhra Pradesh. You said that you held meetings with several opposition parties outside of the Congress party. What was the response from the other opposition parties? Are they willing to support you in this no confidence motion?
Yeah, response, yes, everybody has spoken. They said, no, this Andhra Pradesh has been, they had to do justice, whatever the act they kept, they provided. And in the floor of the house, what the promises they made, all should come to Andhra Pradesh. We are all with you. Last time also we supported. This time also we have to be justified. The government come forward and do the justice for Andhra Pradesh. 18 items are there. Special status is there. Our Kadapa steel plant is there. For Kadapa steel plant, I was sat 12 days in a hunger strike in Kadapa in my district last few days ago.
Right. Okay, let me get in the other colleagues, your other colleagues as well. Sure. Yes, I know that you did, but let me bring in Mr. Majid Memon of the NCP. Mr. Memon, appreciate you joining us here. The TDP once again moving a no-confidence motion. We saw the fate that the notice met with in the budget session of Parliament. A, do you believe that this is going to get any traction at all? And B, do you expect the monsoon session to follow the fate of the budget session and be a washout? Or do you believe that legislative business will in fact take place? Mr. Memon?
Yes, please. I'm sorry. Will you kindly repeat?
Yes, I just wanted to ask you about what you make of the TDP's attempt to move a no-confidence motion against the government yet again. They're saying that they have the support of opposition parties. The Congress has also threatened to move a no-confidence motion. They have not moved a notice just yet. Do you expect the session to be a washout? Do you believe the no-confidence motion will gain any traction at all?
Well, as far as the no confidence motion is concerned, I must tell your viewers that it is not a very serious move because the numbers are not there, you see. And if the numbers are not there, it is some kind of a token protest. As a matter of fact, if you will recall, during the entire monsoon session, we had seen that the whole session had to be wholly wiped off because of the fact that there was absolutely no positive steps being taken by the Parliamentary Affairs Minister or by the government, and consequently we had seen that the entire session had to be totally washed out. Now, this is probably going to be the fate once again unless the government takes it seriously to run the house. You see, unfortunately, it is very easy to blame the opposition which is agitating. Now, remember, the parliament functioning is that primary duty is that of the government to see that the house runs, and then there are already parliamentary affairs ministers who are supposed to work out some kind of an arrangement between the contending or agitating MPs, which no attempt was made at all on the part of the such ministers or the government.
Yes.
And then consequently on the issue of special status to Andhra Pradesh, the whole monsoon session was completely washed out. Also there was a Kaveri problem. But then this will again start from tomorrow. And if the government doesn't take initiative in ensuring that the house business is conducted, the house is run, same situation is expected.
Okay, the same situation is expected. Before I get GVL in, Rajiv Rai, the Prime Minister held an all-party meeting earlier today, and he believes that there will be, the opposition will allow the House to function smoothly. Most of your colleagues across party lines are saying it's not the fault of the opposition, it is the fault of the government that they haven't been able to run the House properly in the past session. Mr. Rajiv Rai, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, there's a long list of legislative items, bills for introduction, consideration and passage, about 18 of them all. What are going to be the priority issues that you will bring up if Parliament were to run?
See, the Samajwadi Party always has played a role of responsible opposition party and will play the role of a responsible opposition party. When I say we have a role of, to play as a responsible opposition party, it doesn't mean we oppose all the bills or all the issues in the parliament, and not necessarily are going to accept it also. Whatever we deem fit in the best interest of the nation and the society, let those bills come up, let those business be listed. I mean, I will prove that we are for the parliament and we are for the nation.
Okay, so you're saying that you will vote as per your principled position on the various items that will be put up for passage. But let me bring in GVL.
Yes, most of the issues are already known to the whole nation. Nothing is that new to add on here.
Fair point. Let me go across to GVL. GVL, I'm reading out a letter that Mohammad Salim has written to the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, saying that the opposition has been very decent and dignified in its conduct, which is verifiable from the records of the House. Regrettably, it is the ruling party which is denigrating the rules and the Constitution, thereby lowering the dignity of the House and the Chair. How confident do you feel, GVL, in light of what we've seen happen in the previous session, that we are going to get any business done in this session? Is the government, is the Parliamentary Affairs Minister going to make much more of an effort to reach out to the opposition to ensure smooth functioning?
No, Shireen, I'm really shocked at the contents of the letter that you read out. How the opposition parties really ran to the well of the House. How they held placards, how they carried out slogans, how they disrupted Parliament is evident. Congress went to the well of the House and did not let the Speaker run the House. I think today, if they want to become sanctimonious, there are no takers. People know what happens in Parliament thanks to live television of the visuals. So the government, it is only some regional parties which which disrupted Parliament. The government's intent is to let the House run so that we can transact business, pass all the bills. Very important legislation is pending in both houses of Parliament. This government wants discussion, but where they want disruption. The TDP is for disruption. The TDP is for derailing parliamentary proceedings. They've been making these statements for the past 3 days in the glare of full media.
CM Ramesh,
I think this is not a healthy democracy.
I don't want to make this a battle between the TDP and the BJP. I'll give you a quick comment to respond to GVL Narasimha Rao's charge that the TDP stands for disruption and not discussion, that you stalled Parliament last session and you're going to attempt to do exactly the same this time around.
3.5 years we waited. We requested, we demanded, we did all the whatever possibilities. They are not responded. Once whatever bills passed in the Parliament, that is not implemented. What we are asking, whatever bill passed, that has to be implemented in a constitutional manner. If they are not taking this one, what to do? we had issued a no confidence motion. They know that they have numbers. Once the debate starts, government will run. That is the reason they are not going to take this no confidence motion. They don't want to hear the opposition party's voice.
It is up to the speaker to admit. It is up to the speaker to admit the no confidence motion. Okay, it is up to the speaker to admit the no confidence motion. But GVL, I want to come back to you for the benefit of our viewers.
You know better, government and speaker are same.
Fair point. Sure. What is going to be priority in terms of the legislative business, GVL? You've got about 18 bills that are listed for introduction, consideration and passage. This includes the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Amendment Bill, the Airports Economic Regulatory Authority of India Bill, that's also an amendment bill, the GST Amendment Bill. That's as far as the 18 bills listed for introduction are concerned. Pending bills include, for instance, the Fugitive Economic Offenders Bill. What is going to be priority for the government? Because given the state of affairs, it looks highly unlikely that you will be able to do all of this that you've listed down.
No, I think the priority for the government is to ensure that the House runs on all the days when it's supposed to be sitting in session, and to get all these bills cleared. Because on most of these bills, there are some bills where political parties might actually want to cater to their vote banks. But a large number of these bills, they should have no difficulty. I think a consensus is possible. But among the important bills for the government, the constitutional amendment bill to give National Backward Classes Commission a constitutional status is certainly a top priority. The triple talaq bill is certainly a big priority. The Lok Sabha has passed it. Rajya Sabha needs to pass it. And there are transgender bills. There are many other bills. So we have a suspicion that some parties might want to disrupt Parliament or derail debate only to ensure that they don't have to commit or they don't have to support a particular bill.
No. See, Saran.
Okay, GVL, one second, Mr. Ramesh. I'm coming back to you, but 1 second. I just want to, you talked about, just a second, Mr. Ramesh. GVL, you talked about some of the bills that you believe will be priority as far as the BJP and the government are concerned. I want to ask you about some of the others that are slated, which are pending in the Rajya Sabha. The Whistleblowers Protection Amendment Bill, for instance. The Right to Information Amendment that you are choosing to move as well without giving any information of what amendments the government intends to bring. Are those priority items for you, and why not disclose the amendments that you intend to make via the RTI Amendment Bill?
No, I think government, obviously this, before they are passed in the House, there will have to be, amendments will be circulated to all the members. I don't see any difficulty there. But there are certain bills, all bills are equally important. But the fugitive ordinance that the government brought about a month and a half ago, that needs to be passed in this session of Parliament. Similarly, the triple talaq bill needs to be passed, because we continuously hear about atrocities against women, even as the Supreme Court ruled this practice to be unconstitutional and illegal. And I would like to hear the views of the other panelists on this panel, whether they will create ruckus or let the House function to get these bills passed.
Sushmita Dev, it's almost become as if the BJP is saying that the Congress party is being hypocritical by asking for 33% for women as part of the Women's Reservation Bill. Rahul Gandhi writing, and we spoke about this yesterday, Sushmita, but you're not willing to take a position on triple talaq. This seems to be the position that the BJP is taking, that it's the hypocrisy of the Congress to ask for women's reservation but not to support the triple talaq bill.
Let me make it very clear that the commitment of Prime Minister Modi on the 33% reservation for women's bill in his manifesto, I believe, was unconditional. Now Ravi Shankar Prasad ji or the Council of Ministers are bringing in conditions. It's very unfortunate. It's political dishonesty. But having said that, let me make it clear that we fail to understand that the amendments we've moved to the triple talaq bill, why this government will not accept it. Why will the government not set up a corpus fund so that a Muslim woman whom we are giving the custody of children to and whose husband is going to be prosecuted under a cognizable non-bailable offence, you want to leave that woman without any maintenance from the government. There is no reason why the government should not accept this given that they are tom-tomming their idea of women empowerment in every speech that the Prime Minister makes in his rallies.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
if they are true to their words, there is no harm why they shouldn't accept the amendments.
Okay, let me get a quick word in from GVL. GVL, Sushmita Dev of the Congress Party saying, why wouldn't you accept the amendments that the Congress is putting forth, and then the Triple Talaq bill can go forward?
Of the Congress Party. No, the people.
Well,
of the
they'll say that it's a clever ploy on your part not to accept their amendments, and hence we're back to square one.
The Congress, I think you've asked me a question, let me answer this. I think the Congress Party actually wants to cater, they want to pander to the radical elements in the Muslim community who are opposed to criminalizing the practice of Triple Talaq. I want to ask the Congress Party, why do you have a problem with it? Many of your members, even on the floor of the House, said criminalizing would not be acceptable. Why? Why do you want the perpetrators of such crime to go scot-free? And about maintenance, what is your stand on such issues? People know from Shah Banu time. It's pure hypocrisy, opportunism of the Congress Party, and cynical politics being played by Congress. You don't stand for women. In Rajya Sabha, where your vote matters.
Sure.
Where your vote matters.
Okay, we've discussed.
In Lok Sabha, you don't have the numbers.
Sure. They don't have the numbers, and hence the Congress's argument that you have the numbers to push through the women's reservation bill, but you've chosen not to do so. But let's leave Triple Talaq aside for a moment, sir. I want to talk to you, GVL, about what we've heard from the Supreme Court today, and I want to get each of our panelists to comment on that, because that is an issue that is facing the nation, and it is a grave challenge, and that is the issue of lynching. And instance after instance, we're seeing across the country today, the Chief Justice of India saying that the government must take action and Parliament must bring in a law. Parliament must legislate to ensure that this stops. GVL, are you going to do anything about this or not?
No, I think the government, today we heard the important points of the judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court. The government will study this judgment, will study the order, and will formulate an appropriate strategy, appropriate action on this. In the past, the government has held that there is
What does that mean? If you were accusing the Congress Party of politics of opportunism, of cynical politics, but how do you then explain, GVL Narasimha Rao, that you have a minister in the government who is seeming to be recognizing men who have been allegedly perpetrators of a crime? The message then sends out a very sort of diffused, confused signal from the government on your position as far as this issue is concerned.
No, there is absolutely no confusion whatsoever. The government's position had been articulated by none other than the Prime Minister himself. On many occasions, Honorable Prime Minister spoke against these elements who have taken law into their hands. And the government had in the past circulated guidelines or orders to the state governments to ensure such crimes are dealt with in a lawful manner. And also incidents like this don't happen.
Clearly it's not working.
But this is a country of 130 crore people. No, I think we need to ensure that all those who actually indulge in such acts of violence. No, you let me answer, otherwise you keep shooting questions. I'm saying these are incidents highly condemnable, yet they are very small in number. They need to be dealt with sternly so that they become an example for others not to resort to such practices. But there are legal provisions in the existing law to deal with such mob mentality or such mob violence. So a need for a special law, as appears to have been suggested by the Honorable Court, is that's something that the government will examine and will revert. Will take appropriate measures.
Okay. Sushmita Dev, is this going to be an issue that the Congress Party intends to bring up? What we're hearing from the BJP is that there are existing provisions that can be effectively used. There may not necessarily be the need for a new legislation.
See, the Bharatiya Janata Party took shelter under a minority judgment and legislated on the Triple Talaq So I'm sure where the Supreme Court has given a judgment asking them to legislate on such illegal acts in a mob situation, that they will act very quickly, and they should, because the country is quite skeptical about what this government feels when it comes to the law and order situation. It is one thing to say we are in power in 21 states, and then to say that law and order is a state subject. It's time for them to legislate and show their conviction towards law and order situations in the various states of the country, and they should do it quickly.
Okay, let me bring in the spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party as well. Outside of the issues that we have discussed so far, what else are you likely to bring up for debate in Parliament? I understand that some parties intend to bring up the MSP issue, the agricultural distress issue, that a lot of political parties in the opposition feel that not enough has been done and the government's promise of MSP plus 50% is hollow.
No, there are several issues, but let me quickly remind Mr. GVL. And what a shameless government is this? Today, Supreme Court has given a big slap on their face. Still, they say there are existing law. I mean, you expect this Prime Minister and government to act on the Supreme Court advice?
Can anyone be more shameless than you?
Allow me.
Hiding a culprit.
Allow me, Mr. GVL, you have gone to the Parliament.
GVL, just 1 second. GVL, please. May I request you? Sir.
What kind of a person you are?
May I please request you? Sir, we've been giving everybody the opportunity to speak. GVL Narasimha Rao. Sir, please, I would request you.
How shameless they are.
You went and welcoming and praising the mob leechers.
No, you are not shameless for protecting Prajapati.
You have proved this. You have proved that you are the gang. You are the leader of the gang who are indulged in the mob lynching. You have proved that. You have proved that beyond any doubt. And you should have little respect for the Supreme Court.
You are the Gunda party. You have a patent being a Gunda Raj party in Uttar Pradesh. Stop.
Gentlemen.
Mr. GVL, have basic manners. You have gone to the upper house.
No, you are a Gunda party.
Take back your word. Take back your word. Take back your
GVL, Mr. Rai, GVL Narasimha Rao, may I request, Gentlemen, may I please request everyone to please calm down. Let us not indulge. Just a second, sir. Just a second.
I mean, you are the gang of rapists, Gunda mob lynchers. You are the gang leader of the corrupt.
You are the Gunda party.
Don't behave like this on the national channel. Don't behave on the national channel.
Mr. Rai.
Don't behave on the national channel like this. Don't behave. I will not allow you.
Mr. Rai.
I will not allow GVL to speak anything on the national channel and go scot-free. Mind you.
Shirni.
No, you are a Gunda party.
Just a second.
I think any bacha in UP will tell you this. You ran Gunda Raj.
GVL Narasimha Rao, can we please, sir? This is a national channel. This is a national channel, sir. Please, can we award each other some respect? Please, sir, let us award each other some respect. We are adults here having a discourse on a national channel on prime-time television. Can we all please
tell him that.
Treat each other with respect?
He started this.
Please, GVL, I would request... No, I'm sorry. Please hold on. Now let me go across to Mr. Ramesh. Mr. Ramesh, the other issues outside of the special status for the state of Andhra Pradesh that you intend to raise tomorrow.
Yeah, 1 minute. Yes, we'll do. And see how GVL is bulldozing. Supreme Court has given order. We have to respect and we have to welcome. And he is telling that still he want to examine. Even our issues, Andhra Pradesh, examine, 4 years is over. You want to pass on the time for examine. Supreme Court has given order, we have to implement, we have to make legislation. That is how he is bulldozing we have seen. All viewers also is looking after the GVL.
Okay, all right. That's the point that you make, that you believe that there is the need for a legislation, that the government must ensure. The government must ensure that there is new legislation. We are running out of time. GVL Narasimha Rao, I will give each one of you a minute each for wrap-up comments. GVL, wrap-up comments from you. The mood of the panel here, specifically on several issues, but more specifically on the issue of mob lynching and how to deal with that, is that a new legislation should be brought about by the government.
Yeah, Shireen, what I said was, once there is an order of the Supreme Court, once the order is studied in detail, understood, the government will take follow-up actions. The follow-up actions could be in the form of legislation. It could be in the form of amending existing acts. It could also be going in appeal to the Honorable Court and informing the court, no, these provisions already exist. So can you please reconsider your order? All these are a part of the provisions of law. There is nothing to be really unhappy about this. And I have not used any strong words. If you use words like shameless, I will hold a mirror to you. And the AP special status is a bogey raised by the TDP. I think I need 30 seconds on this. Because there is a special package already implemented in the state of Andhra Pradesh. This special package has been given in lieu of special status. The state is taking the special package, which is its right, and now wants to create a confusion about special status. I think this is duplicity of TDP at its worst. We will expose them on the floor of the House.
All right, sir. That is the stand that the BJP has taken. But let me get wrap-up comments. Sushmita, how hopeful do you feel about the session which starts tomorrow? Do you believe that we are, in fact, going to see any business get done?
There are important issues to be raised. Recently, you saw the inflation go up. Women's security is a very important issue in this coming session. And let's not forget that the judgment of the Supreme Court is a result of a contempt petition where the courts had already given an order to actually control cow vigilantism. And in contempt of that order, i.e. none of the governments have fulfilled those norms, this order has come to control and have a special law for mob lynching. And I feel the government must not waste any time. In a jiffy, they pass ordinances. They should do this very quickly.
They should do this very quickly. Mr. Rai, final wrap-up comments from you, sir.
Again, Shireen, I have my simple suggestion to the government. Have a least respect for Supreme Court advice. Don't take refuge on the wordings and here and there. Respect the verdict of Supreme Court. Fulfill the promises. This is the last year of your government. There are several promises which are going to remind them in the parliament, right from MSP to unemployment to dollar to petroleum products. They are not going to have a very tough time. Let them be mentally prepared and keep their arrogance and audacity aside.
All right, gentlemen, and Sushmita, we will have to leave it there. Countdown to the monsoon session of Parliament has begun. Let's see if we, in fact, do get any legislative business to proceed. Tomorrow is expected to be a stormy start. But for today, GVL Narasimha Rao, Rajiv Rai, CM Ramesh and Sushmita, appreciate you joining us here on the Political Exchange.